Did you know you can sponsor your favorite podcast on the Spin Market Podcast Network? Hi, everybody. I'm Peter Stockdale, host of the Spin Market Report. In the past year, our podcasts have had over 20,000 total streams, and our YouTube channels have had over 1 million views. Whether you're promoting a product, service, or event, we'll help you reach the audience that matters. Get more information on how to sponsor a podcast at spinmarketwith2ks.com. Spin Market. Your business, your message, our platform.
It's the Spin Market Report. Here's your host, Peter Stockdale.
Oh, yeah, we are back. It's the Spin Market Report. Another Monday, Marketing Monday.
Yes, most important day of the week.
Man, should we copyright that yet or not?
Yeah, we'll have to check on that one, make sure that we're safe. But it would be good to copyright.
That is a good one. So this week we are sitting down with Shannon Grossnickle. You are a teacher at Duncombe Elementary, correct?
Correct.
And you are one of Fort Dodge's 10 under 40, which if anybody's seen the list of names, it's a pretty awesome list of names.
It's quite the honor. Very good.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. So where do you, what grades do you teach at Duncombe? Let me ask you that. Or what do you teach there?
I have been at Duncombe my entire career. This is my 13th year.
Oh,
and
wow.
I've always taught third grade.
Oh, that's super cool.
Yeah.
Third grade. Man, that makes me think back. My third grade teacher was awesome. Shout out to Mrs. Bacon. Man, it's cool. I even remember that stuff, 30 something years old, and I still remember my third grade teacher. So hopefully you're inspiring people like that. That's really cool. What inspired you to be a teacher though?
A similar situation where I was in second grade. I had an amazing teacher. I still communicate with her today. She just made the learning so fun, so engaging, and just was really able to build such good relationships with, everybody in the classroom. And I was like, yeah, I want to do that one day.
Cool.
That's super cool. Do you remember any specific stories about a time or something that happened back then where you're just this was the thing? Or I'm trying to think, I do remember as weird as it sounds, doing a Laura Ingalls Wilder segment in third grade or something, and just being really into that for some reason. My teacher made it fun. So
yeah, well, now that you mentioned Laura Ingalls Wilder, it's very similar. She read I can't remember what the book was, but it was a pioneer girl book. Mm-hmm. And we were able to do just some hands-on projects, building the log houses that they lived in, and all those hands-on projects that I just absolutely loved. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, it really makes the learning immersive,
mm-hmm.
instead of just somebody up on a whiteboard being 2 + 2 is 4. And then they're just okay, 2 + 2 is 4. It's really fun to get your hands on those things and incorporate something like building the little Lincoln log cabins and things like that. That's awesome. Did you always want to be a teacher? Did you were you going into high school, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to be a teacher? Or did you have another path in mind?
Nope. I've always wanted to be a teacher.
That's awesome. That's super cool.
She really has her life planned out, doesn't she? I'd be a teacher, been there for 13 years and teaching the third grade. Wow.
So what do you enjoy most about teaching the third graders then?
So third grade is such a fun age because they're, fairly independent. But they still have a lot of innocence still in them. They get excited about just the little things that I do. But at the same time, if I need them to do something by themselves, they can do it without coming back up and asking me a ton of questions. Mm-hmm. So it's just that perfect balance of independence, yet still being fairly innocent.
Yeah, I recall being younger and thinking some of my teachers were basically superheroes. How do you know this? And it's well, they're a teacher. This is probably why, but that's one of the coolest things. I always, just thinking about this interview has made me go back in my head and just think about some of my favorite teachers throughout time. And I just want to say kudos to all the teachers out there. You don't get enough congratulations and thank yous from everybody. I know that it's a thing that's trending on social media, thank the teachers and all this stuff, but for sure, absolutely thank you, because it impacted a lot of our lives. A lot of us.
Major.
I bet you could even, Cheryl, you could probably name some of your teachers you had growing up, probably even still. Maybe not.
I can picture their face, but I can't always remember what their name was. But I can remember certain things that we did specifically. Mm-hmm. In third grade, we had a play that we did.
Okay.
That was every year, and so you look forward to it. Mm-hmm. Every year, because you knew that once you got in third grade, you would be part of this play that they would always do.
That's fun.
awesome.
That reminds me of like the operetta. We used to do things like that.
In middle school, or
You know, it was like 6th grade or 5th, somewhere in there.
I remember
It's
that
like,
too. Yes, because we did go to the same school.
Oh, we did. You went to Humboldt?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
That's
Yes.
awesome.
Well, geez,
Yes.
that's awesome. So, like, you've been teaching for 13 years, but how has teaching changed over those 13 years?
Oh man, they have just kind of trying to think. As far as curriculum, everything has become more, I would say, about the whole child. When I think about, when I was back in 3rd grade, it was just a lot of academics, but now it's really focused on the whole child as far as, adding in that social, emotional, learning that they get, just how to regulate emotions and all that. Because we see that a lot right now. There's a lot of, social, emotional, mental health things that are coming up that we see in kids. And I'm really glad that we're able to address that and teach them those strategies that they can take with them throughout their life.
I will say that's one of those things that people might just be like, well, we need to harp more, go back to the academics. But if you go on social media for 5 minutes, you realize that the emotional quotient, it's like the IQ, but it's the EQ, is lacking in people maybe in my generation because it wasn't as focused on. So it's nice to know that you can, help these people when at a young age learn how to control their emotions, or at least digest them in a way that's going to help them.
Yeah, we just, in order for us to do the academics, we have to be able to find that balance with the social emotional. So being able to address and meet their needs socially and emotionally first, then we can get to the academics.
That's awesome. So as far as being a school teacher, what's your favorite part of the day? Is it showing up early and grading some papers? Is it staying a little late and helping a student? Is it the lunch?
I would say my favorite part of the day would probably be, I'm trying to think, wow.
The whole day is your favorite, right? Is that what?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy the entire day. Yes, there are parts that are, I think, better, or I tend to enjoy more than others, just because it gives me that one-on-one time with the kids where I can actually have those conversations with them, where it's not just me, teaching them. I can actually have a, dialogue with them, just learn more about them, and help build those relationships.
It's got to be fun to start the year, get to know the students, and then by the end of the year, you can see how much they've grown. That's going to be really kind of cool. Yep. I did mention school lunch. Maybe this is like way off topic, but has school lunch changed much since when you were in school?
Yeah, I think it's gotten a lot better.
Nice.
Wow.
Hats off to Duncombe and Fort Dodge Community School District. Josh Porter, hope you're listening.
Right?
We'll have to make sure we get that sent to him.
Absolutely. How about success stories? Without like naming anyone, but have there been any success stories where we were talking, like children learning throughout the year, or their emotional intelligence or their social intelligence kind of increasing throughout the year? Are there any success stories you have, at least going through, or like maybe this was like a difficult topic for a student, and then you went and like maybe tutored them after school a little bit, and then they eventually got it?
I would say that I had a student that just really kind of struggled with, one thing that we focus on in 3rd grade is fluency. So being able to read fluently, so many words per minute. And there was just some students that, they were accurate with their reading, but they were just a little bit slower. So they weren't, exactly where they needed to be as far as, benchmarks. We talk about benchmarks and proficiency. And this student just happened to, realize where he needed to be. He wasn't going to give up. He was able to practice. He practiced at school. He practiced at home. And then by the end of the year, when we kind of do our end of the year testing, he made benchmark. And just to see their look on their faces and they realized that they made it, it was just, it was like a light bulb moment for him. He was just so excited.
That's so awesome. Hard work pays off.
Right.
And you've actually, since you've been there for 13 years, you've actually had students that have graduated.
Yeah. Make me feel old.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, she's had students that have graduated.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's super cool.
Any of them come back and say, or run into them, or?
I've seen a few, maybe at Target a couple times, and they're just like staring at me, and I'm like, "Hey, do you remember me?" And they're like, "Yeah, I remember you." So yeah, those are the best moments.
Maybe you're, for me it was Miss Bacon. Maybe that you're there, Mrs. Bacon. You never know. That's super cool. How do you, we talked about like kind of keeping kids engaged. It's different than when we were growing up, but like, how do you keep kids engaged? Do you have any special like projects or courses that they go through, like the Laura Ingalls Wilder type thing?
So I try to make the learning as hands-on as much as possible, and I also try to make sure that I'm, balancing my teaching and my talking, just so I'm not constantly talking at them, all day. I give them time to talk to each other, talk to me, hands-on projects, just trying to incorporate anything where they can, just show their creativity through many different, avenues, whether it's, electronically, just like an actual building something project, just anything like that.
So as a teacher, one of the things I always think of is like, when I was growing up, it was, I don't want to say it was like more free form. The teachers kind of just did what they wanted. I mean, you obviously have benchmarks you have to meet even when I was growing up. But at the same time, as things have changed, I feel like new challenges have arisen for teachers. Like, what are some challenges that teachers face today that maybe even 10 years ago when you were teaching, they didn't face?
I would say just time in the day to get everything in. I feel like the day just flies by, and before I know it, it's 3:00 and the kids are going home, and I feel like, man, we did not get through as much stuff as I wanted to. There's just kind of like back when we were in 3rd grade, but like there's just so many things that we need to get done, so many core subjects that we need to get to, and just to be able to do it well, time has been just a major factor.
Yeah, I mean, now that you're saying that, it makes me think there's math and there's reading and there's social studies and there's science. And I mean, you go down every single little avenue. There's a lot of different subjects. How many subjects, I mean, just generally do kids go through and like maybe in a day or in a week there?
So for 3rd grade, there's usually about 5 or 6.
Woo!
Yeah, a day. Mm-hmm.
Plus, I mean, if you add in like PE and like some of that kind of stuff too, which is very important. Well, that was one of my favorite things growing up was PE. That's really fun. So incorporating creativity and innovation. Are there any things that you've like helped innovate there, or things that you've done where it's like, I'm going to do this thing that everyone else is doing, I'm going to put my spin on it and do it just a little differently? So
kind of. Last year, we were able to hold a family engagement event. We started a brand new curriculum last year, and our first module was about the ocean. And so we were able to hold a family engagement event, my 3rd grade team, about the ocean, and we called it the See the Sea event. And we were able to, have parents come in, just kind of show them all the learning that we've done. Each classroom transformed it into kind of like an underwater ocean. We turned our pod into the ocean.
Cool.
We had life-size sharks and squid and all these kinds of things. And that's what's fun for me, doing things like that.
That's super fun. That reminds me of when we were in 6th grade or something in Humboldt. We did the rainforest, and we redid the room like a rainforest. That's super fun. Yeah. It's also made me think it's not the sea and it's not the ocean, but there is the Matt Cosgrove Rivers Edge Center. That could be a neat thing to kind of sort of incorporate into something like that too.
Right. Go visit. Yeah.
Yeah. You never know. I mean, granted, it's like catfish and things like that. There's this is what a beaver
there's some
dam
similarities.
Yeah. It's not quite the same, but it is.
Explain that there's a difference between the ocean and inland, and it's a fish. Out in the ocean and a fish down the river, but they're different species.
Ah, yes.
Put it that way.
That I almost don't want to throw it in here, but there's no such thing as a fish. If you go look that up, the genes of fish vary so widely that to say that this one's related to that one, it's actually might be closer related to a land mammal than an actual fish based on evolution.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I've heard that back in the day, and that's just a weird fact that always stuck with me.
He loves weird facts.
Yes. That's something we've been doing on social media lately is weird facts too. So I do want to say again, congratulations on being one of the 10 under 40. How does it feel? What does it mean to you? Did you expect it?
No, I honestly didn't really know what it was. I got a phone call, and they said I'd been chosen, and I was just like, oh wow, I was just kind of stunned. I'm very honored. Very honored.
That's awesome. So did you have to go get a professional picture taken or write an article or anything? Or
so I did get my hair done the day we got the picture taken, and I had to answer some questions, just kind of talking about similar to these questions about what I do at work, and
that's really cool. That's got to be so fun.
And we do have the copy of the 10 under 40.
Oh, you do?
Yes, up in the front office or the front reception area.
Oh, awesome.
Sitting there. So anybody that doesn't get the copy can come into the office and see it.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, maybe this afternoon I'll go work out in the front lobby area.
There you go.
Work in the front lobby and peruse that magazine a little bit. Does this hold a personal or professional milestone to you? Is this something that now that this has happened, you're it's validating to you in some capacity?
I mean, I I just, I show up, I do my job, I try my hardest. I try to reach every kid I can. Yeah, it's a blessing to be recognized for it, but I know that, back in my building, there could have been anybody that could have gotten it. Like you said, teachers deserve all the recognition. So, yeah, just very, very proud.
That brings me back to, I said it earlier, but like how important is, I want to say like community involvement or community like outreach towards these teachers, like to tell you guys you're doing a good job. How important is that to teachers?
Oh, it means everything. I mean, just to have that support from the community means everything. Just knowing that they will support you with whatever we need. I know that our building has a lot of connections with different churches in town and other businesses as well. So just having that there to provide, whatever we need for the students is, and teachers as well, is a major benefit.
Do you think that also like helps you do your job better? Maybe going to like parent teacher meetings or like having that feedback from the parents, to kind of be like, this has worked and this hasn't worked, or like, do you think that helps you do your job?
Oh yeah, I mean, when I think about feedback, we take feedback all the time, and then something that we say in teaching or in the education world is, when you know better, do better. And so when we think about feedback, getting that from, anyone, it's always just the best to be able to take that feedback and then do something different and better for everybody.
That makes sense, because like you only do what you know, and you're only doing as good as you know, and until somebody actually shows you there's either a different way or a better way or a more efficient way to do things, you just don't know.
Exactly.
That makes me think about like, math is being taught different now than when we were growing up. And I get that like it's difficult, it's different, and then parents are kind of like, I don't get this, it's whatever. But like one of the things that I think is the most fun about the way math is being taught today is I think it lends itself to doing like math in your head a little bit easier, which is like the thing that they're kind of trying to teach, which I think is kind of maybe missed by the parents sometimes, where it's like this. We've all seen those things on social media that's like, when you add 79 and 56, what happens in your brain? And it's like, I add these together, but everyone has a different way of doing it, and they found a way that's efficient for most people to do it going forward.
Exactly, yeah. So I've heard that conversation many times about, the new math and all that.
Yeah, new math.
Yeah, the new math. But again, it's just giving not everybody thinks the same way, and so being able to give those students the strategies that work for them, that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, another tool in the toolbox.
Exactly.
Why not? Absolutely. All right. So what do you think makes Duncombe a special place to be?
Other than it's a brand new building.
Right. So we are the largest elementary. And so we have obviously the most students. I think something that makes Duncombe Elementary special is just, the students inside the walls. We have students that are coming from all over the world to come live here, and they get to come to our building. And I think that's just, it provides a lot of perspective for not only, teachers, but the students that were born here. I think it's just one of the coolest things. I've been able to learn about so many different places around the world from those kids, and just being able to incorporate their cultures into our classrooms, into our lessons, has just been something really cool.
That would have been awesome, because I mean, Cheryl, you went to school where I went to school. It's like a 2-horse town. There wasn't a whole lot of things that were different.
Either you lived in the city or the country.
Yeah,
that was as much.
Yeah, you're a farm kid or a city kid. And a city kid, it's not really like you're a city kid.
Right? No, not. But that was the only differential on it.
Right?
You didn't have anybody from a foreign country, or very, very rarely from a foreign country, or anybody different than somebody that lived on the farm or somebody that lived in town.
Yeah, that would be really cool to have, just all of the different perspectives mixed together in one place for everybody to learn from. You can learn something from everybody, honestly.
Right, yeah.
Wow, that's
just amazing.
Yeah, it's super cool. So what would be one thing that people might not realize what it's like to be an elementary school teacher? I'm sure we all have this idea in our head, but maybe it's a little skewed from our childhood. But what's one thing maybe even parents or even kids that might be listening to this, because maybe some of your students are listening to this. You never know.
It's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work, especially as an elementary teacher when you're teaching more than one subject. The time it takes to prep each and every day, because you're doing something like 8 different things differently each day of the week. It just takes a lot of time, and I hope that people realize that the time and effort that teachers put into their lessons to make sure that their students, their children are getting their needs met.
I think that's a good point too, because it makes me think about like when you get to like high school, it's like, well, this is the science teacher and this is the math teacher and this is the history teacher. So I think it's more difficult to get kind of good at a lot of things than it is to get really good at one thing specifically.
Right.
Especially if like, well, this week in science, we're looking at rivers, and then next week we're looking at plants, and then next week we're looking at the stars. And it's like, I have to know a little bit about all this stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I've done some tutoring in my life too, where no matter how good you are at something, it's like, I need to brush up on this before I tell someone else how to do it. And I think that's something else a lot of people forget about when they're talking, teachers. It's just like, well, you know everything about all the stuff, right? And it's like, well, yeah, but like, I have to reread, I have to reread. If you read a book last year, it's like, tell me what was in the book this year. It's not that easy always.
I know, especially when we have, topics like in third grade right now, the ocean, and then we go to outer space, and then just, some topics that I'm just like, I have no background knowledge on that, like specifics or anything like that. And kids ask me questions and I'm like, let me Google that really quick.
Ooh, that's gotta be so fun. I never thought about that. Like, how many questions did you ask as a teacher as a kid? And they were just like, let's go to the library and look at it. Because, I mean, we were there before the internet, basically. So, like, now you can at least, like, Google and get an answer for
Everybody pause. Let me type it in really quick.
Oh, the curiosity of being a kid, though, too, where it's just like you just learn about Jupiter. It's like, well, what's in the rings in there? And then you're like, well, let's look it up. Like, what's that storm made out of that's on Jupiter, or whatever it happens to be. You're just like, oh, let's Google it real quick, That's super cool.
One thing that I'm always curious about is how do you change it from year to year? So there's going to be some things that you're going to keep in there, but how do you keep it fresh for you as well as the students?
What I do is I like to try and listen to my students' needs. Like I ask them, what are some things, what would you like to do? How would you like to learn about this? I had a class a couple of years ago. They really enjoyed social studies. And so I was able to get feedback from them where they wanted to learn about different countries around the world. And so I kind of took that feedback and just planned different lessons about different countries in the world, where we tasted food. We made just different little, I would say, artifacts that went with their culture, went with different holidays that they celebrated in that country. So yeah, it just kind of depends on the class. Each year, that's as far as what I change, it just depends on what the class would like to do and kind of their needs.
Wow.
That's
tailored to them.
Yeah,
Cool.
Exactly.
I love it. And you're giving them different avenues. Because, I mean, when we were growing up, it's just like, well, this is Argentina, and that's what their flag looked like. And I found one picture in a National Geographic from 12 years ago, and we clipped it out, and this is what they look like. And it's like, okay, this, it's not enough examples, but you're like letting people taste foods and try to like, either recreate their culture in some capacity. That's super cool. Again, not that we never got any of that because, Laura Ingalls Wilder type stuff again, but still like, that's super cool how things have changed and how technology actually like helps you out.
Right.
That's another thing though. Like how has technology changed since you've been there? Because I know that like I do the production on Josh's podcast, The Dodger Download. So I get to hear about things they're doing where it's like all our calendar systems are online and things like that. Has that changed a whole lot since you started there? Because like when I was growing up, it wasn't really a thing. It was just they'd send you home once a week with this calendar or once a month. And hopefully it stayed in your backpack on the bus ride home and your mom found it, like one of those types of deals.
Right.
I don't even know if we had backpacks.
So I would say it just makes everything more accessible for parents, being able to, have those things online, being able to have the apps that allow us to talk to parents or them talk to us. I had a parent message me the other night. It was like 9:00. I mean, not a huge deal. And so it's just being able to have that kind of fluidity to be able to, and access to be able to contact each other when we need.
That's something else I found. Like on the school website, there's actually like a little portal where you can contact one of the teachers there or something like that. I haven't had to do it yet, but like I do use your guys' website to like look teachers up if I need to like, how do I spell this person's name or something like that. So that's a good website. It's cool to have that technology there.
It's a very nice website.
Yes.
One of the better ones that I've seen in schools.
Nice.
It's much more organized.
Yeah, it makes me think when I was growing up, the best case scenario you had was like going to a yearbook. And I was like, this is the yearbook from last year. Okay, there we go. All right, let's say, for instance, maybe like a younger student or a student of yours that's now like in 10th, 11th, 12th grade is listening to this. They found this and they're like, she was my teacher. This is going to be cool. They listen to this and they're like, I've actually been thinking about it. I want to be a teacher. What advice would you give to somebody that is possibly considering this, maybe in their teenage years?
I would tell them to try and get as much experience in the classroom as possible, amongst the grade levels, just to kind of see, is this, it's a lot. And so would you truly, be interested and have the capacity to do the work? And it just see kind of, what, like, would you prefer elementary? Would you prefer secondary? Just because, there's major differences between the two. And just see if if it's really what you're interested in. This
isn't on here. I'm going to spring you with a weird question, but what are some like personality traits you see between the quote unquote best teachers? Because I mean, like every kid learns differently, obviously. Right. I think of like when I was growing up, there was one teacher we had that was kind of a difficult teacher to get good grades in, but that's, from my perspective, that's what I liked about it. It was challenging. Mm-hmm. But there were other teachers that like just laid things out in a very, this is A, B, and C, and this is just how simple it is. And then that's the answer and you're done. So there's different avenues to take. But what are some of these personality traits that that like the teachers care about the students,
I would say that, the more loving and caring and nurturing and structured teachers are the ones that I see every day at Duncombe Elementary. So those qualities tend to lend themselves to teaching kids.
It's like a combination of everything I said. You got to be caring, mm-hmm. loving, nurturing, but you also got to be organized. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there is structure involved.
You have to be the perfect
balance
of everything. Yeah, exactly.
And if you are the perfect balance, maybe you could be 10 under 40. All right. So I did put a fun question down here because I was just like, you know what? Let's throw a fun one in here. If you're a teacher and you could have one superpower, what would it be? You're teaching third graders. Do you want to be able to see through walls, or do you want to have laser eyes, or like what are we talking?
I would say probably to have eyes on the back of my head.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually thought that's what all students thought, is the teacher has eyes on the back of their head.
I think they do. Yeah, I think they think that. But yeah, definitely eyes on the back of my head.
That's a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I was thinking like, is it going to be just like, I want to be able to fly? Because I think the kids would just think that was fun or something,
right.
Or
zoom around the room.
Snap your fingers and there's a pizza there or something. I don't know, but that's a fun one. So what is one thing, and this is the other thing, you're the teacher, so you're teaching the students. However, one of my favorite things about interacting with people, maybe in a sense where I'm trying to like tutor them or teach them in some capacity, or help them when, I was growing up or went to college, and you're sitting next to the person, you're kind of helping them learn how to do something, is you can always learn something from them as well. And it sounds cheesy, but like there's always an opportunity to learn. What are some things that you've learned from the third graders over the years, or just any of your students in general?
I would say one of probably the top things that I've learned from my students is just, perseverance and resilience. There's some days where, they come in and they may have had a rough day the day before in school. And then for them to come back and just, sit down and still try hard and do their very best work, just really, matters to me, because then I think about that when I'm having a bad day or I just feel overwhelmed with everything that I've got on my plate. I just think back to my students and just work through it.
Yeah. Oh God, that's so fun. Plus like the innocence of the children has to like kind of push back on you and be like,
if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah. Yep. It's such a loving thing to kind of think about. I'm getting close to the end here. Are there any things that I haven't touched on that you kind of want to bring up, maybe concerns or just like things that you just think are like really, really fun about being a teacher that maybe I just forgot to bring up?
Just thank your teachers. They do so much. So many extra hours outside of, our contract time that teachers come in on the weekends or they take things home. We also have lives outside of teaching, families at home that need us too. So it's just a lot that I hope that people realize the time and effort that, all the teachers that I've ever worked with put in and day out just to do what's best for kids.
That's a good point. The obvious thing that people short-mindedly say is you only work 9 months a year. But you said it best when you said before and after school. So like it makes me think about when I gave guitar lessons. If you want to learn something, you had to like spend the time before you even got to the lesson to learn it so you could teach it to the person. Mm-hmm. So it's not like just the lesson is the only part. That's the only part they're seeing.
Yep.
That's not the only part that's happening. So
yep.
At nighttime, you're going through the science book and learning a new chapter or reading a couple new things or getting clarification on something in the math book or like going through history and reading something new.
Yep.
maybe every night, maybe in the morning before you get there, you're doubling down and just being like, I'm just going to be double sure this is how we're doing it. So there's a lot of work behind the scenes that goes on to be a teacher. I would say honestly, in almost every teaching capacity, like
for sure.
Even I know people are like, oh, the PE teacher. It's like, no, the PE teachers have to do this too. They have to prepare for all this stuff. They have to be organized and do it the correct way.
They got to motivate the kids to move.
Exactly.
Which is probably the most difficult part.
Oh, it's super fun. All right. This is it is a marketing podcast. I do want to say thank you once again for joining us.
And congratulations again too.
Absolutely. I usually end all these podcasts with the same question to everybody, and everybody likes to answer it a little bit differently, but can you name a time where like marketing has impacted you and you possibly didn't know it until afterwards? And this could be like in your personal life, or maybe you saw something on TV and you're like, I'm going to buy this thing and see how my students interact with it in the classroom, or this would be a neat thing to have to help me teach the students. Or maybe it could just be like, I saw a DQ commercial yesterday and I went for ice cream.
I would say just a lot of the curriculums that we use as far as marketing. When we were trying to find our most recent ELA curriculum, we had about 5 different curriculums that we were looking at. So just seeing the 5 different curriculums and seeing how they were different from each other, but lended themselves to, the huge grade span of, all the way from kindergarten all the way to 12th grade. Just seeing how they built upon each other. It was really cool to see that from a marketing perspective, just to see how, different they are, but at the same time, still hitting those standards that we want each child to be able to be proficient in. And just looking at that and figuring out which one would best fit the kids here in Fort Dodge.
That's wild to think of like a curriculum spanning literally like kindergarten all the way through senior in high school.
I hadn't thought of it that way, but you would really need to have it that way so that you continued what was taught here.
Exactly, so it builds.
Builds on it.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't think about that.
If you didn't plan it out, like you could learn something in 4th grade from this teacher that if there's 2 teachers, maybe the other one didn't teach it.
Yes,
exactly.
Then when you get to 5th grade, you're like, wait, I had ABC teacher and they didn't teach me how to do whatever it is. That's okay. Okay. Yeah. It's always fun.
So there is a method to the madness.
Exactly.
Yes.
Always.
This is fun because I like to think of these interviews where it's just, I always learn something or like it gets conveyed to me in a way where it's like, I guess I never thought of it that way, and it makes so much sense that it is that way. But I do want to say, Shannon, once again, thank you very much for joining us, taking some time out of your busy day to come here and visit with us, because this is not something that should be taken lightly, honestly, being a 10 under 40, being recognized as a good teacher. My challenge to everybody that's listening is comment with your favorite teacher from your childhood. I know you probably have one. Just drop their name down below. It doesn't matter if it's the school or whatever, but I know everybody somewhere in their brain has some teacher that really impacted their life, and I would love for to drop some names down below in the comments section. So Shannon, once again, thank you very much. I will put all the links to the Fort Dodge Community School District stuff down below, as well as a link to their podcast that we also help produce here at Spin Market. So
cool. Well, I have one little thing that we always have everybody do. This is Buster, our bulldog. He is our mascot. And the reason why is because we're bulldogs for getting you online and getting your message out there digitally. But we also rub his head. He loves that. He's getting shiny for luck. We ask you to come over and just rub his head for luck.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah,
there you go.
It.
Good luck.
That's for the rest of the year.
Yes, on there
the
for
rest
you.
of the year.
Perfect.
Good for you.
He promises it'll carry over through the whole year.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes.
This podcast is produced by Spin Market and Digital. Located in Fort Dodge, Iowa, Spin Market's highly skilled team can help you increase your market by updating your website, improving SEO, designing advertisements, and producing podcasts that will grab the attention of your market. Contact Spin Market today for all your digital marketing needs at digitalagent@spinmarket.com or call us at 515-302-8026. And to learn more, visit our website at www.spinmarket.com. That's digitalagent@spinmarket.com or 515-302-8026. Or visit our website at www.spinmarket.com.